Hello, grade 7. Today I'm going to explain lesson 1.7 in biology called the digestive system. I'm going to start listing the main functions of the digestive system, which are breaking down food into a form that the body cells can use, absorbing nutrients, and releasing wastes. We're going to explain each function as we go through this system. First of all, let's see the pathway followed by food as it moves down the digestive tube. First of all, I have the mouth, and then the food will pass through the esophagus to the stomach, then to the small intestine, then to the large intestine, and then to the rectum and anus. Let's look deeply to what's happening inside of the digestive system. In your digestive system, food is digested in two different types or two ways: physically or mechanically, and chemically. So as food moves down the digestive tube, it undergoes both types of digestion: physical, mechanical, or chemical. What do I mean by physical or mechanical digestion? It means when you break down large food molecules into smaller ones without changing their nature. So you're just cutting the big pieces of food into smaller ones. While chemical digestion, it means changing the nature or composition of food. It means changing the arrangement of atoms inside of food molecules. I'm going to begin with the mouth so you can understand what's happening in each organ or each part of the digestive system. In the mouth, you have two types of digestion. Since you have teeth, so food is undergoing mechanical or physical digestion here. And since you have saliva, the saliva is a secretion or a fluid secreted by the salivary glands that you have in your mouth. You can see here the salivary glands that can secrete saliva. Saliva contains enzymes, specific enzyme that can transform a big molecule of sugar called starch into smaller molecule of sugar. This is why saliva will act chemically on food, and we say that digests food chemically due to the action of saliva. So the mouth can digest food mechanically because of the presence of teeth, and chemically because of the presence of saliva. You can see here the big starch molecule, a big molecule of sugar, digested into smaller sugar molecules by the action of saliva. Another part of your digestive system, which is the second part where the food is passing, it's the esophagus. It's only a tube, a muscular tube that connects the mouth to the stomach. It is about 25 centimeter long, and there's no digestion happening in esophagus. Neither physical nor chemical. It's just a passage for food. And remember that on top of the esophagus, we have a flap-like structure called epiglottis that closes over the respiratory tube, it means the trachea, every time you swallow to prevent you from choking. Stomach. It's the third part of the digestive system where food is passing. It is a very important part because it actually also has two types of digestion happening there. First of all, it is a G-shaped muscular organ. So it is an organ made up of muscles, so it can move. And it digests food physically and chemically. It digests food physically because it actually moves. So we say that we have churning of food happening in the stomach. But also it can digest food chemically because there's a specific secretion called gastric juice that has enzymes in it and can digest only proteins in the stomach. But also stomach has a strong acid in it. It's called hydrochloric acid. It's not an enzyme, so pay attention. Hydrochloric acid cannot digest food chemically. Hydrochloric acid is there in the stomach only to kill bacteria and microbes, and it allows the activation of the enzyme that digests proteins. So hydrochloric acid or HCl will help with the chemical digestion, but it's not directly digesting. And then I'm going to move on to the small intestine, a very long tube found in your abdomen part. It's about 6 meter long, and it's called small intestine because it has a small diameter. It is a very important part of your digestive tract because actually there we have not only food passage, not only digestion of food, we have also absorption of nutrients. So in the small intestine, nutrients will be absorbed by the blood, so the blood can take it to the rest of your body cells. As you can see, if you open this is a small intestine, and this is a section of the small intestine. If you cut it, you're going to see that the inner wall of the small intestine is not smooth, it is rough, so you can see ridges. Okay, and on these ridges we have something called villi. Okay, so you can see these ridges, small tiny ridges here, they are called villi. So if I zoom in, if I take this part, I zoom in into the surface, the internal surface of the small intestine, I can see this structure. This is something that we call a villus. We say one villus, many villi. What is the structure of a villus actually? Look at this. The villus is made up of course, an outer lining, an outer layer of cells, intestinal cells, and inside of it I have a lot of blood capillaries and lymphatic vessels. So, what is the importance of the presence of blood capillaries in the villi? Actually, the high amount or the big amount of blood vessels in the villi will increase the rate of nutrients absorption. So because I have millions of villi, I can say that the surface area of the small intestine is very big. That's why I will have a higher rate of nutrients absorption. And because also I have a lot of blood vessels in the villi, also I will increase in that way the rate of nutrients absorption. Look at this picture. It's showing you the stomach and the first part of the small intestine. The first part of the small intestine is called duodenum. And then we're going to move on to the large intestine. Pay attention. In the large intestine, there is no digestion, only absorption of water, and it is called large intestine because of its large diameter. So here we only have water absorption, we don't have digestion, and we have also bacteria that are beneficial because they will provide you with some vitamins such as vitamin K and B. At the end of the large intestine, you have a part called rectum. So the rectum is here. It's the last part of the large intestine. That will end with the anus. The anus is the opening to the outside. Pay attention. When you have too much water in your large intestine, you're going to end up with constipation. So if too much water is absorbed from the waste, constipation will result. If too little water is absorbed, diarrhea results. So when you absorb too much water in the large intestine, it means you are taking all the water present in the waste. That's why you're going to end up with a constipation. So the waste will be very solid, while if you're not absorbing water from this waste, the waste will be rich in water. That's why we call it a diarrhea stage. Now I'm gonna continue with the accessory glands that are found in your digestive system. Of course, they are glands, accessory glands. It means food does not pass in it. We have the liver, the gallbladder, the pancreas, and the salivary glands. As you can see, the salivary glands are found in the mouth. They secrete saliva. Saliva has enzyme to digest food chemically. And then we have the liver, the biggest organ. And then we have the pancreas. It looks like a leaf. And we have the gallbladder, which is a small pouch attached to the liver. The liver is the largest internal body organ, and it is located on the right side of your body. It produces a yellowish and greenish fluid called bile. So bile, pay attention, it's not an enzyme. It doesn't digest food, but it helps with the digestion of fat. So we say it digests mechanically or physically fat. but it doesn't digest chemically. It means it's not an enzyme that can change the nature of food. Here I'm going to just highlight that the bile is secreted by the liver, but then it's stored in the gallbladder. So the gallbladder has only one function, which is storing the bile secreted by the liver. And then this bile will move on from the gallbladder to the small intestine. The pancreas. The pancreas, it looks like a leaf, and it is very important because it produces something that we call the pancreatic juice. The pancreatic juice has enzymes that can digest all kind of food. And of course, the secretion of pancreas, the pancreatic juice, will go toward the small intestine. So until now, you can know that the bile and the pancreatic juice are poured in the duodenum of the small intestine. So I'm going to repeat something important regarding the small intestine. The small intestine can digest food chemically because inside of it we have secretions coming from pancreas, which is pancreatic juice and has enzymes, but also the small intestine can secrete its own juice. It's called intestinal juice that also has enzymes and can digest any kind of food. But also the small intestine can digest food physically or mechanically because actually it's moving. And this movement is called peristalsis. So the movement of the small intestine, and it looks like a wave of muscular contractions. It's called peristalsis. So that's why we say that food moves down the digestive tube by a wave of muscular contractions called peristalsis. As you can see here in the picture. And this is the last picture that I'm gonna show you, which is it shows all the digestive system with the food pathway. And that's it.